Mahabharata Episode 3, Part 1. The Curse of Pandu. Pandu becomes king after the deaths of Chitrangada and Vishitravirya. The throne of Hastinapura seemed uncertain. But among the three brothers born of Vyasa, Dritra, Pandu, and Vidura, it was Pandu who shone brightest. Dhritarashtra, though mighty, was blind. Vidura, though wise, was born of a maid. And so the crown was placed upon Pandu's head. Pandu ruled with vigor. His bow never missed. His sword never wavered. He was pale of skin, but strong of spirit. And though frailty sometimes clung to him, his will carried him forward. The conquests of Pandu, as King Pandu, did not rest in comfort. He rode at the head of his armies, marching into distant lands. He defeated kings to the east, to the west, to the north, and to the south. His banners flew over valleys and mountains. His name carried to the edges of Bharatavarsha. Tributes poured into Hastinapura. Gold, jewels, horses, and elephants filled the royal coffers. The court rejoiced, for Pandu was young, victorious, and beloved. His brothers stood beside him. Vidura counseled him with wisdom. Dhritarashtra, though blind, supported him as elder. Bhishma guided him with the weight of years. It seemed as though the kingdom was safe, and the dynasty strong. But destiny waits for no man. The fateful hunt one day, Pandu rode out into the forest to hunt. The air was crisp, the rivers clear, the mountains echoing with the cries of birds. As he stalked through the forest, he saw two deer moving together among the trees. They were locked in embrace, their bodies entwined. Pandu's hunter's eye sharpened. He nocked an arrow, pulled his bowstring to his ear, and let the shaft fly. The arrow struck true. Both deer collapsed, writhing on the ground. But as Pandu approached, the deer spoke. The curse. The deer transformed before his eyes, and in their place lay a sage and his wife. They had been in the form of deer, joined in union. Now they lay bleeding, struck by Pandu's arrow. With his last breaths, the sage cried out, "O king, in the very moment of our union, you have struck us down. What greater cruelty can there be? For this sin, I curse you. If ever you approach your wives with desire, if ever passion seizes you, you shall die at once." Pandu stood frozen, the bow slipping from his hand. The curse burned into his soul. A king may conquer kingdoms, but what kingdom is left to him if he cannot embrace his own queen? The sage's wife wept. The forest grew silent, and Pandu, pale as death, turned away from his throne. Pandu's retreat, he returned to Hastinapura, but his heart was broken. How could he, a king, sit upon a throne when he could never sire sons? How could he be a husband when even the touch of love might bring death? The thought consumed him, and so Pandu laid down his crown. He handed the kingdom to his elder brother, Dhritarashtra, and renounced the world. With his two wives, Kunti and Madri, he retreated into the mountains. There, in the cool air of the Himalayas, he sought peace in the life of a hermit. But no peace could quiet the storm within him, for though he had chosen exile, the thought of an empty lineage haunted him. Kunti's secret boon. It was then that Kunti revealed her secret. Long before, when she was a young maiden, Kunti had served the fiery sage Durvasa. Pleased with her devotion, Durvasa had given her a boon, a mantra by which she could call upon any god, and by that god bear a child. Kunti whispered this secret to Pandu, and suddenly, hope flickered in the pale king's heart. If he could not father sons, the gods themselves could. The curse had closed one path, but destiny had opened another. The stage was set for the birth of the Pandavas. Closing hook and so, the king who could not be a father placed his hope in the heavens. Through Kunti's boon, the gods themselves would walk the earth as his sons. In our next part, we will see the birth of those sons: Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahudeva, the 5 Pandavas, born of men, but also born of gods. And from their first cries would rise the story of the